Now, the anti-corruption network has condemned and called on the federal government to restrain its recently fresh approved 656 billion naira bridge financing facility to the 36th state. While briefing journalists on Thursday in Abuja, the executive director, Anti-Corruption Network, Dino Melaye, reviewed the previous bailout funds granted to the state government and called for a holistic and comprehensive audit of all the funds disbursed to state government so as to ensure fiscal responsibility, transparency and planning, and contain mismanagement of resources of the state government. The executive secretary further found out the removal of subsidies by the federal government, which indicate replacing of 1.8 trillion naira from subsidy with 2.4 trillion. It described the move by the federal government as a case of repaying debt with debt.
According to Budget IT research, a total sum of 1.75 trillion has been given to states in Nigeria as extra statutory allocation known as bailout since the advent of President Buhari's administration, unfortunately. Nothing or little is known about how the funds have been spent. The federal government, on its part, is neither concerned nor has it asked the right questions on how the previous facilities already granted were spent, but regrettably seem to be very happy and quick to grant another facility upon a simple request by state government for further support to pay the previous facilities due to repayment. The Anti-Corruption Network, therefore, by means of press conference, calls for a restraint, because this is purely paying debt with death. The Anti-Corruption Network states that instead of fresh bailouts, the federal government should have considered either waiving substantial part of the 3 bailouts already granted, delay the repayment, or extend the repayment period. With the entire lackadaisical attitude displayed by the federal government in monitoring the proper use of the previous facilities and the reason given for the approval of this current 656.112 billion, one is tempted to ask, could it be that the federal government is benefiting from all these bailout funds? Is the federal government laundering money through the grants of these facilities? The Anti-Corruption Network calls for answer and clarification of these questions.
Dino also suggested that the government should harmonize the fiscal and monetary policies in the country in order to stabilize the economy and move towards recovery and growth.
But now that they are going to remove subsidy, I want to say that federal government is spending 1.8 trillion every year on subsidy. So that means they say they are wasting too much money on subsidy, and because 1.8 trillion is spent every year on subsidy, federal government wants to remove it. But stupidly and foolishly enough, they want to replace it by paying 5,000 naira, or they want to cushion the effect of the removal of subsidy by giving 40 million Nigerians 5,000 naira. And 200 billion every month times 12 months in a year will amount to 2.4 trillion naira. Now you want to replace 1.8 trillion with 2.4 trillion. And with the level, magnitude of corruption in this country, we know that even 5 million people will not benefit from that 5,000 naira. It will be stolen. So thereby opening an avenue for some elites and some bourgeois and some thieves in this country to become trillionaires and billionaires. So the Anti-Corruption Network rejects that approach of replacing 1.8 trillion with 2.4 trillion naira. Subsequently, every bailout from Nigerian government should be a product of an act of parliament. This would enable the lawmakers to articulate all major determinants for the approval of the bailout and also clearly state what it is to achieve with specific timelines. To stabilize the economy and move towards recovery and growth, government should harmonize the fiscal and monetary policies in the country. This, no doubt, will bring down interest rates, make available capital for investment, create jobs, and grow the economy.